In this part of the tutorial, we're going to go over how to use the function field. The function field allows us to either use certain mathematical formulas or certain logic expressions to create intelligent tags in PractiCAD. Now, there are a variety of options here, from the if, then, else, or either or logic functions, and there are going to be separate tutorials on each one of these. And then there's also mathematical functions like absolute value, min and max, and you can go down the list from square root all the way down to your sines, cosines, and tangents. The first one we're going to focus on is the if, then, else logic expression. This actually comes directly from Excel. This is also the most useful logic expression we have in our software, and it is consistent not only in tags, but also with our reports. The best way to demonstrate the if, then, else function is to design a tag and watch it work. In this tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to create a transition tag. The transition tag, whenever the top of the transition is up, is going to show one value, and whenever the top is down, it's going to show another value. Basically, we're going to create an intelligent tag that will switch back and forth utilizing the if, then, else function. First thing we're going to do is start the expression by clicking on the ampersand next to the if, then, else function field. You're going to notice that PractiCAD is going to show you if, then, else, and then we're going to have two parentheses. Now, the if, then, else function is a three-part statement. First, we make a statement inside PractiCAD. Then we utilize a comma. Then we write in PractiCAD what we want to see if the statement we made first was true. Then we put another comma, and then we put inside PractiCAD what we want to see if the statement we made was false. So it's a three-part expression. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a statement. And what we're going to do is go into the property window, and we're going to make a statement that's going to say top change, and we're going to hit the ampersand to enter it into the expression. Notice we're putting it after the first parenthesis. And then we're going to say is greater than, and we're going to use these mathematical functions we have here. And then we're going to type in the number 0 where it says number, and we're going to hit the ampersand. Here we can type in numerical values. And if those numerical values need units, we can also assign units here. So what we've done is we've just said top change is greater than 0. That is going to be our if statement. That's basically the statement we're making. Now what we need to do is we're going to click right after that particular statement. Notice the cursor is right after the 0. Now we're going to put a comma. And now we're going to put in PractiCAD, using the text and property values, what we'd like to see if that statement is true. Now inside PractiCAD, if the top change is greater than 0 on a transition, the transition's top is up. So what we're going to say is we're going to go to text, and we're going to type in TU. And we're going to hit the ampersand. And that's going to be what we want to see if this expression is true. Then we're going to hit comma. And now we're going to put inside PractiCAD what we want to see if the expression we made, or the statement we made, was false. So if top change is greater than 0 is false, that would mean that the top change is less than 0. And if the top change is less than 0 in PractiCAD, the transition is going down. So we're going to put in text, we want to see the letters TD. And then we're going to hit the ampersand again. So taking a look at this expression, we make a statement which is top change is greater than 0. Then we have a comma. Then we say if that's true, show the letters TU. and then we have a comma, and then we say if that's false, show the letters TD. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save, and we're going to exit out of my library. We're going to go over to this tag called PCAD test we've just modified, and we're going to click on this transition here. And notice that it's going to say top down, or TD. And what we can do here is we can click on our transition, and we can come over here and say top change 8. Right now, the top change is greater than 0. So it shows top up. Then we're going to take top change and we're going to say it's negative 8. So now it's less than 0. And you can see when we hit enter, PractiCAD changes it so the top is now down. So the tag is going to say if top change greater than 0, show TU. If top change less than 0, show TD. So this is a simple example of how the if then else can be used, one expression, to edit a tag as you work in PractiCAD. This tag is now intelligent. In the next tutorial, we're going to show you how to string along multiple if then else expressions so that we can represent more than just two outcomes on one single tag. We just designed a tag and we said if top change is greater than 0 and that statement is true, let's show TU, comma, if that statement was false, let's show TD. Now what we'd like to do is add two more parts of this expression. We'd like to say that if the top change equals 0, we want to show TF for top flat. And we'd like to say that if the bottom change equals 0, we'd like to see BF for bottom flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear out the expression. And we're going to start from scratch. Once again, we're going to start our first if-then-else function by clicking on the ampersand. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our first statement. And this time we're going to say the first statement is going to be if top change, we're going to scroll down to top change, and we're going to say if top change equals 0. So here's what we're going to do. We select top change, we're going to hit the ampersand, and then we're going to say equals, and we're going to put the numerical value 0. We're going to hit the ampersand. So if top change equals 0, we're now going to hit the comma, and we're now going to make what we want to see. We're going to create the statement. We're just going to show the letters TF for top flat. And then we're going to hit the ampersand to enter it. Now normally what we would do is we would hit a comma and then say what we would like to see if the first statement was not true. But what we can do is string along multiple if then else scenarios until we reach all the possible outcomes. So what we're going to do right here is we're actually going to hit comma, and then we're going to go to if then else again. So look at what we've done here. We've said if top change equals 0, comma, show TF. Then we're going to say comma, and we're going to start over again, and we're going to say if, and we're now going to make the next statement. We're going to say B for bottom change, and we're going to say if bottom change, and we're going to hit the ampersand, we're going to hit equals, and the numerical 0, and we're then going to hit a comma again. So what we're going to say is if top change equals 0, comma, show TF. If bottom change equals 0, comma, and now we're going to show BF. And then we're going to put that in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit comma, and we're going to start the expression over again. And we're going to say if, and then we're going to go back to top change, and we're going to say in the property field, if top change, and we're going to hit the ampersand and say if top change is greater than 0, so we're going to go to where it says number and hit the ampersand, comma, and we're going to show the TU we had before, because if the top change is greater than 0, the top is up. Hit the ampersand, and now because this is the last part of the expression, we're going to close it off the way we normally would. We're going to say comma, and then we're going to say what we do if this statement's not true. And we're going to say TD, and we're going to hit the ampersand. Now let's start from the beginning and read from left to right what we've done here. We've basically said if top change equals 0, comma, show TF. And we use another comma. Then we reset it. If bottom change equals 0, comma, show BF. And then we're going to have a comma after that. And we're going to reset the expression and say if top change is greater than 0, comma, show TU. And then if that statement isn't true, we say comma TD. So the last part, when we string multiple if then else functions together, is always going to go back to your original, make a statement, comma, what we do if the statement's true, comma, what we do if the statement's false. But before we do that, we can string as many situations or as many expressions together one at a time so that we cover every conceivable option for this tag. Now, one thing we want to be very careful of is if we're going to string these expressions together, always double check to make sure you have not missed a comma, and then always double check to make sure that the number of parentheses going right equals the number of parentheses going left. Here you can see we've got 1 parenthesis going right, 2 going right, 3 going right. And then you can see at the end we've got 1, 2, 3 parentheses going left. Therefore, the equation or the expression is balanced. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit save, and we're going to exit out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to double click on this transition, and notice that we got top change set at -8 right now. So we're going to come and we're going to grab this tag, the PCAD test, and we're going to click and just simply put it on our transition. Notice that it shows the proper value because top change is -8. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make top change +8. It shows TU. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say top change equals 0 and hit enter. You can see it shows top flat. And then we're going to take bottom change and we're going to make it 0 and it'll show bottom flat. Now here in this we have the depth in and the depth out equal to one another. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the depth out to 14. That way we can give top change and bottom change both 0. Now notice that when we had bottom change 0, it still showed top flat. Why did it pick top flat over bottom flat? Now you can see that top change is 0, so it does top flat. Or if we change bottom change to 0, it does bottom flat. But before, when we had the depth out to 18 and we put bottom change at 0, it went to top flat. Why did it do that? Well, the reason why is that top change and bottom change are both 0. And when that happens, PractiCAD runs over the expression from left to right. So let's take a look. We're going to go back into the library icon and we're going to look at this expression because this is a very important point. And here we're going to double click on the field we were just working on. Notice that the first portion of this expression is top change equals 0, show top flat. Every time you make an edit, PractiCAD is going to go to the beginning of this expression and work its way from left to right until finally it hits a part of this expression that applies. Then it's going to choose the value that you've set here. So when we change it, bottom change 0, if the top changes 0 at the same time, PractiCAD goes to the beginning of this expression and says, if top change equals 0, show top flat. Therefore, we saw TF instead of BF. The reason why we're pointing this out in this tutorial is because the order at which you pick your conditions can be a crucial part in making sure that your tag represents the proper data at all times. So you want to give it thought as to what you'd like to see first, and then what you'd like to see later on down the line. If you design a perfect tag, PractiCAD will only meet one criteria at a time. That'll conclude the tutorial on the if-then-else function.